On Friday, November the 1st, 2019, I attended the BlizzCon protests in an effort to document the various goings-on, interview a few of the organizers and attendees if possible, and to sate my own curiosity about the event in general. I arrived outside of the convention a little before 11 a.m. and immediately noticed a man wearing a Winnie the Pooh outfit standing around. He was very approachable and agreed to be on camera. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, the audio of my interview with him turned out garbled. From what I remember, the man's name was Lowe, and he rode his bike over 15 miles to attend the protest. He mentioned how security was very wary of him, and that a person who identified themselves as the owner of the building that we were in front of grilled him about his presence. He was ultimately asked to step back to the street area, where no less than 2 security guards hovered close by. Thanking Lowe for his time, I proceeded off to see if I could find any other protesters. As I did not possess a pass to get into BlizzCon itself, I needed to move around the block, as they had most of the area closed off. As I closed in around the second entrance to BlizzCon, I noticed a crowd holding signs and distributing flyers. This, as it would turn out to be, was the main protest group. At a little before 11 a.m., they numbered roughly 24. I interviewed another man, but sadly this footage was completely lost, again due to equipment issues. It was at this point I switched to recording with my phone. The quality wasn't as good, but at least all the audio and video from this turned out to be usable. Around 12:30, a group from Gamers for Freedom arrived. They set up a sound system and started passing the mic around after their opening speech. The crowd of protesters had swelled to somewhere between 3 and 4 dozen at this point. I stayed and listened for a bit, getting a few more interviews and gathering more footage of the various people coming and going. It seemed like things had reached the apex a little after 1 p.m. Around 2 p.m. is when I left for the day. Overall, the protest was calm, with a cheerful demeanor. At no point did I notice any of the protesters hassle convention attendees, or any of the convention staff give the protesters a hard time, although a few times they were asked to step back as to not crowd the entrance. The convention attendees, for the most part, ignored the protesters or engaged with them very briefly, although you could tell that some of them were less than thrilled at their presence. It was clear that the convention staff were given orders to accommodate the protesters as much as possible, as long as the protesters did not disrupt the convention or bother attendees. The cynical side of me sees this as Blizzard trying as hard as possible to prevent more bad PR. The owners of the surrounding area and venue were also supportive of the protesters, even offering them free snacks and drinks. As a whole, the November 1st BlizzCon protests went off without issue. I won't be attending the protest today, November the 2nd, but I can only hope things go as well today as they did yesterday.
Hey, what time is it?
I'm not that careful.
I know. I just thought I'd see if you'd say it.
I'm more like Lenny! Who are you?
Lenny!